So you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel and you finally dived in and you filmed your first video, but it's time to edit the video and you have no idea where to start, like no idea. I had that feeling too when I first started my YouTube channel, and I don't have that feeling anymore. I've learned so much over the past few months about how to edit videos. I've jumped over huge hurdles of, you know, that beginner type feeling where you're just Googling and Googling and Googling forever. I've jumped over that, and because of that and all the time I've spent learning those things, I want to give back. And I want to, in this video today, teach you everything you would need to know about how to edit your very first YouTube video. I'm gonna go over all the basic types of edits you're gonna need to make to a YouTube video. So nothing like extravagant and extreme. You don't need that right now. You need the basics, right? You're a beginner. You just need to dive in and get started. In particular, in my video today, I'm going to be putting a huge emphasis on free. I am a big believer in saving a penny, especially with the economy today. And I'm a big believer that you do not need to spend any money getting started making your YouTube videos. You can literally start with a phone, and you can start with the free software that I'm going to introduce you to today. Also, everything today I'm going to talk about, of course, can be applied to YouTube videos, but everything also can be applied to the tall, skinny type videos. So if you need to make a custom TikTok or an Instagram reel, something really custom that you can't do in those native apps, the software I'm going to show you today, of course, can handle all of that. This software, you guys, you can do styles like Emma Chamberlain type vlogs and videos where you're out exploring a city and you want it to look really aesthetic. Or maybe you need to make videos like Khan Academy. You need to have a screen recording type video where you're walking somebody through a process while you're recording your screen. This software can do all of that as well. First, let me walk you through all of the types of edits we're gonna go over in this video so you can quickly tell if what you're looking for is gonna be in here. The first thing we're gonna go over today is how... The first thing we're going to go over today is how to splice your video. So if you make a talking mistake like I just did, I will teach you how to cut it out. The second thing we'll go over is B-roll footage, how to overlay some other footage that you want to make your video look really pretty and to tell a visual story while you're still talking over the video. The third thing I'm going to show you is the dynamic zoom, or just a basic zoom. Maybe you want to scroll in really slowly to your face to make emphasis while you're talking, or maybe you just really want to make a quick zoom. I'll show you how to do that. I will show you how to put text over the screen, whether it's handwritten like this one, or the native fonts that come in the software. I'm going to show you how to overlay pictures if you need to show a picture in your video. If you want to zoom out of your video, I will show you how to fill in that space with a solid color. I'm going to show you how to put sound effects in your video like clicking, popping, or typing. I'm going to show you how to put arrows on your screen if you need to point to something for emphasis. I'm going to show you how to put background music in your video, like that pretty song.
And then I'll show you how to speed up your video,
Reverse your video,
and slow down your video.
Alright, so what is this magical software I'm talking about? The software I want to introduce you to today is called Davinci. Davinci I have been using for a few years now with projects also outside of my YouTube channel. And it is amazing. Nobody talks about this software enough. It is completely free. Well, it's not free. The entry basic account is free. However, that's the one I've been using for my entire YouTube career thus far and for personal projects, and it does everything I would ever need it to do. The premier subscription version, paid version, is for professionals, like literally making movies and stuff. You're not going to need that. The basic account will be just fine. Alright, so at this point it is time to finally dive into the computer and make sure Davinci is installed on your computer. If you need help with that or you don't know how to do that, just Google how to install Davinci. You're going to find plenty of resources on how to do that. I won't go over it in today's video just for time's sake. Also make sure that all your recorded clips are good to go and they're complete and they're on your computer as well. And once you have those two things done and ready to go, we can go ahead and dive into Davinci on my computer and I will show you how to make your first YouTube video. Hi guys, you'll have to pardon my appearance. First of all, it's a cozy rainy day, so I have to be dressed like this. And second of all, it's really cold. After you have Davinci installed on your computer, let me just walk you through what you're going to see here. If you look at the bottom here, there's a few icons that I'm going to walk you through, many of which you won't even touch for this tutorial. This first one that we're on is the media area. This is where they intend for you to come start dragging in your recorded clips. I never use this. I'll tell you why in a sec. This second icon is the cut area. I think what they intend you to do is do like your rough cuts on here. I don't ever use that. This is where I spend 90% of my time in Davinci Resolve. This is the edit area, and you can do both of those two things I previously said. You can do all that in here. So there's an area up in the top left. See, it says no clips in media pool. This is where you can drag your recorded clips to start editing them. This down here at the bottom, this is called your timeline. Your timeline is the timeline of the final video that you want to create. This is where you can do your rough cuts and your clean cuts and everything that you would need that I talked about previously on these two other areas. So I just do it all on here. This next area is called Fusion. You will not need to touch this as a beginner. This is where you're gonna make animations. We're not touching that today. This next tab is the color area. This is where you can do color grading. So if you wanna make your videos look really cinematic and dark and moody, but you didn't film it inherently that way, this is where you can do all that. Again, we're not gonna touch that today. This is the Fairlight area, i.e. audio. So if you want to record your voiceovers, if you are more of like doing audio engineering stuff and you need a mixer, which I don't do any of that. So I don't spend a lot of time in here. The only time I spend in here is doing voiceovers. But again, we're not going to touch that today. This last area you will touch today. This is where you export your final clip. It's called the deliver area. So this is where you have your final timeline and you give your video a title, you tell it where you want it to save it, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna start off in this edit area because like I said, this is where I do 90% of my work. So the first thing we need to do is drag in our recorded clips. If you don't see this area in the top left, by the way, the media pool, there's a text at the top that says media pool. You can click that. Like if I click it over and over, it toggles that view back and forth. So just click that and make sure you can see the media pool, they call it. Media pool is where all the media, i.e. your pictures, your arrows, your music, everything you need to make your video, that's where it lives. That's all called media. So let's start dragging some of that stuff in. What I'm going to do is right click on that area. I'm going to click import media and you can see some of my work here for this video you're watching now. So I'm going to drag my video clips. This is like my raw footage I did sitting in that chair back there. So I'm going to highlight all 4 of those, click open. When you see this message, go ahead and click change and you can see my 4 clips are there. What we can do at this point is start editing those clips. Once you've dragged your recorded video clips into the media pool, as they call it, we need to put them in the timeline. Remember, the timeline is this bottom horizontal area. My first clip is this one right here. So I'm going to click and hold down my mouse and drag it. And it appears as if this is a blooper, so I don't want that there anymore. So let me show you how to remove a clip that you don't want in your timeline anymore. You just make sure you're highlighted on it. So you click on it till it turns red, click delete on your keyboard and it goes away. So let me drag the next one. Right now I can already see at the beginning there's some dead space. I'm trying to get situated in my chair, get ready to film the clip. I just know from filming that's not intended to be there. As promised, the first technique we're going to do, and you will use this constantly when you're editing videos, it's called splitting or splicing or trimming. Let's discern the difference between all those. A trim is where you remove a bit from the end and a bit from the beginning of your video. To trim your video, make sure that you're selected on this selection mode icon. You're going to hover your mouse at the beginning of the clip where it starts. You can see how it changes to that little, I don't know what that is, but it changes. Once it changes, click and hold down your mouse, start moving your mouse to the right, and you can see the clip just removed all of that dead stuff, and now it starts here. So you've always wanted to start a YouTube.
So we just did our first trim. We trimmed the beginning. I'm gonna undo all that. To undo, click Control Z. So the next technique is called a splice or a split. This is almost exactly like a trim, but a split or a splice might happen in the middle of your video. So here's some more dead space. I guess I haven't explained how I know this is dead space. Let me walk you through what we're looking at. We have the video and we have the audio. So when I'm sitting here recording this video, the camera is capturing 2 different files. It's capturing a video file and it's capturing an audio file. And it's putting those 2 different files on the timeline. And you can see over here, these are called tracks. I'll add some more tracks just to show you. So on the video 1 track, we have the video file from my footage. And on the audio 1 track, we have the audio file. Audio files will always default be green, and then video files will always default be blue. And the reason I know this is dead space is because I'm looking at the audio file and I can see I'm not saying anything. If you see a spike in the audio file, that means it's detecting volume. From here to here, I know I'm not saying anything. You can see I'm looking at my phone at my notes. So back to a split or a splice, what I'm going to do is make sure I'm in this blade mode. Click on that, make sure it's red. I'm going to hover my mouse over where I want the split to start. So I'll click there, and then I'm gonna split here. So I'll click there again. And you can see it's divided my timeline. It's split it into a little section there. And now I need to remove that. So remember I showed you how to remove a clip earlier. So I'm gonna click on that clip, and I'm gonna click delete on my keyboard, and it's gone. We have just gone over the first technique. We've gone over trimming, and we've gone over a split or a splice. The next technique we're gonna do is B-roll. B-roll is a term in film used for when you want to overlay video footage from a different time and like have a voiceover in the background kind of thing. So I showed you the example earlier with the waterfall, so let me show you how to do that. So we don't have our waterfall footage, which by the way, if you need footage like that, I don't live near a waterfall, right? The way I got that was I Googled royalty-free video clips. If you ever need like pictures or videos for your projects and you don't want to get in legal trouble, use the terms royalty-free when you're Googling for that stuff. Royalty-free means you don't have to pay for licenses or anything like that. It's completely legally free to use. Now that you have that tip, you can go find a waterfall clip or you can film your own clip. So again, we're going to do just like we did before, right click on the media pool, click import media, and I'm going to find that waterfall clip and I'm going to click open. So you can see it's dragged it into the media pool. Let's say I want to have the waterfall appear when I'm saying this right here.
So you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel and you finally filmed your first video.
Like I want that in the background, but I want the waterfall. I don't know why I would want that, but that's what we're gonna do. So what I'm gonna do now is we're gonna see the concept of these tracks come in. Davinci is kind of like Photoshop in the fact that it kind of works in layers. We're gonna start stacking stuff on top of each other and you will see the magic come into play. Because I want the waterfall as my default image, not me talking, I need the waterfall to be stacked on top of me. Priority comes with whatever is most on top. So I will drag this clip, I'm holding down my mouse, I'm dragging it, and I will set it right there. I just thought of a tip. Make sure this right here, snapping, make sure that is on, because if it's not on, it won't snap to like where my cursor is, and it's really annoying to get it aligned just right. So if I have that turned on, it just like a magnet just goes right there. I should also explain, this big red guy, I don't know what you call it. I just call it a cursor. I don't know. This is showing you in the timeline where you're at. This is where I'm presently at in the video. And I want everything to line up with that cursor. I want it to start there. So I have the waterfall laying on top of the clip of me. And you can see when I press play now, which by the way, to press play, just press space on your keyboard.
So you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel and you finally filmed your...
See that? How cool is that? The next thing we're going to go over is, it's called the dynamic zoom. This is where you can slowly zoom into something to create emphasis or zoom out away from something. I'll show you each way. Let's say I want to dynamically zoom into my face slowly while I'm saying this.
So you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel and you finally filmed your first video.
I want it to end right at video because the next word I say is but.
But?
And when I say but, I'm going to have it zoom back out. So let me show you how to do all that. So I'm going to zoom into my timeline because right now it's really small and it's hard to be that precise, like right in between individual words. So to zoom in, here's a little zoom bar. I'm just going to drag this to the right and you can see there's much more space to work with. So what I need to do at this point is I need to stop my cursor right before I say the word but. So let me try to find that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to play back the audio in slow time. This is super confusing. This took me a long time to understand. There is a difference between playback and the native audio. Playback is a word used for filmmakers when they're editing videos. Playback is a term it's used for the settings of what you're hearing while you're editing. So right now, just for ease of like stopping the cursor right before that word but, sometimes I talk too fast and that's really hard to stop my mouse like right then. So I'm going to play back the audio slow. That does not mean that I'm editing the audio slow. It means I'm playing back the audio slow. I hope that makes sense. So to play back the audio slow, remember I'm not going to edit it slow. You're just going to hear it slow for ease of editing. I'm going to click Shift L. Oops, that was wrong. Shift K? Yeah, it's Shift K. My bad. So let me try that again. Shift K. So I'm going to wait right before the word but.
You start a YouTube channel and you finally filmed your first video.
Right there. Do you see how the cursor is right before that audio part? That's where I say but. So I have my cursor right where I need it, and we've gone over the technique of splitting, so I'm going to put a split right there. So what you need to do for your dynamic zoom is you need to split the clip where you want it to zoom. So I want to zoom it from here to here, right before I say but. Now that we have the clip split, there's a clear cut right at the start and beginning of where I want that dynamic zoom. I'm going to come over here, click the drop down, and I'm going to click dynamic zoom. Let's go over what we're looking at here. We're looking at a green rectangle, and it's hard to see, but there's also a red rectangle around the image. What this is telling me is, oh God, this is hard to explain. Let's just watch.
So you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, and you finally filmed your first video, but...
Okay, do you see what happened there? I have dynamic zoom settings on this right now, and let's watch again.
So
it started zoomed in, and it's slowly going back out.
Your first video, but
I want it in the reverse. So let's look at what's happening here. The green rectangle represents where it's going to start. So like if I make this super small, the clip is going to start zoomed into my face that small.
So
do you see that?
You've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, and you finally filmed your first video, but...
And it zooms all the way back out to the beginning. So we need to do two things here. First of all, we need to swap the zoom, because right now it's starting zoomed in and it's going out. But remember, we don't want that. We want it to start zoom out and go in. So to swap, go to the right over here where it says dynamic zoom, which by the way, if you're having trouble not seeing anything, make sure this is toggled on to the red. So once you have this drop down open, there's a little button here called swap. Click that, and then you'll see that green rectangle turned red. They switched spots. So the green represents where you start, and the red represents where you end. I want it to end more centered on my face, like that. So let's start again. I'm going to press space.
So you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, and you finally filmed your first video, but...
That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. So we just did a dynamic zoom. Again, to go over quickly what all that was, there's the green rectangle, which represents where the clip starts. There's the red rectangle, which represents where the clip finishes. So you can see it's zoomed into my face right there, the red. That's where it's going to finish. If you want to swap that, if you did want it the other way, remember you just click that button, swap, and it'll change the orientation of the zoom or the direction of the zoom. So we've gone over dynamic zoom. Next, I need to teach you how to do just a basic zoom. So not a dynamic where it's like easing in and out, but just quickly zoomed in. Let's say the word but, I want it back out to normal. So I'm going to put a clip right there. Because remember, we have to divide these clips for each settings, right? So the next part, I say, what do I say?
It's time to edit the video.
It's time to edit the video. I want that to be zoomed in again. So I'm going to split the video right there. Remember to split. Make sure you're on this icon right here. I'm going to go back to that regular mode, click on the clip. Instead of dynamic zoom over here, I'm going to click transform. And what I'm going to do is click on one of these corners here, hold down my mouse and just drag my mouse out, and you can see I'm zooming in a little bit, just a little for emphasis. So let's watch all that from the beginning.
So you've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, and you finally filmed your first video, but it's time to edit the video.
Did you see that? But went back out. It's time to edit the video, went back in. Okay, the next thing we're gonna go over is how to add text to your video. I've gone to the part of the video where I'm like holding up my hands and showing you can add text here or here.
I will show you how to put text over the screen, whether it's handwritten like this one, or the native fonts that come in the software.
All right, so we're gonna add 3 pieces of text. Let's do the first one. So I'm going to drag my cursor to the part where I say, what do I say?
Text over the screen.
Text over the screen, and I'm holding my hand up. So we need to put text over there right above my hand. Let me make this clip a different color just so you can clearly see where I'm working at. If you wanna do that, right click on the clip, go to clip color, and I'll just change it to violet, something like that, so we can easily see what we're working with. Over here on the bottom left is your toolbox area. You should be able to see in this drop down under toolbox, there should be a section called titles. That's where all the text lives. So click on titles, And right here is a big list of all the titles. There's a lot of fancy ones on here. Here, let me drag this one over and just show you.
I will show you how to put...
There's a lot of animated graphics that it comes with. I love it for that. I don't use them all that much. Let's see what this looks like.
I will show you how to put text over the screen, whether it's handwritten like this one.
It looks a little glitchy, by the way, because my computer is lagging a little bit. It won't look like that in the final export. If you export it like that, even though it looked glitchy, it'll look smooth. Editing videos, unfortunately, takes a lot of power in your computer. So yeah, I just wanted to show you, it does have a lot of pre-animated texts for you. So if you want like some fancy intro, you could use that as well. Let's just do a basic text, which is what I use most of the time. It's gonna be called basic title. It is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th one down. I'm going to click my mouse on that, hold my mouse down, drag my mouse right above the pink. And remember, the top takes priority. So whatever is most on top is what you're going to see first, and everything will be stacked under that. That is why the text right now is overlaying on top of my face, because it's literally on the timeline, on top of my video clip. If I switch these around, which if I want to do that, I just drag them around, you can see even though the text is there, like technically on the timeline, I can't see it. The reason is it's below my clip of my face. I want to change the title. I want to change the font, maybe some settings, and I want to move where the text is. Let me show you all that. So over here on the top right, make sure you're like highlighted on this text clip. So it should be red. Click on that, and over on the top right, you're gonna see the settings for your title. Click on title here, and you can see this is where you can change the actual text. So I'm gonna call it text. Let's do all caps, text 1. Let's say I want to change the size. There's a little size thing here. You can just drag that around. There's a color picker you can change, whatever color. That's a cute color. I'll go with that. Tracking is how spread apart the letters are. So if I drag this, it gets really spread out. To change the font, go to font family, and there's all kinds of different texts or fonts you can choose from. I have some even installed in here, which that's a video for another time, how to install your own fonts. I'll just pick Arial for now, that's fine. You can change the font face if you want italic, bold, whatever. Lastly, I do want to show you sometimes when you have text overlaying a video, it can be hard to see depending on the background. Like if you have white text on like a kind of gray wall, it might be hard to see. So sometimes I like to add a background to the text or a drop shadow to the text, which those settings, if you scroll down in this title area, are down towards the bottom. So for background, I don't know why it's like this. If I change the width, I don't see anything happen. So first I always change the height. I don't know why it's like that. I think that's maybe a glitch. So on the height, I'm just gonna start dragging this, and you can see a background start to appear. So I'm just gonna make it maybe like that. Now I can change the width. You can change the color of the background. Maybe I want pink. I don't know why I would want that. That's not a bad color combo, actually. That's kind of cute. You can change the radius of the corners. So if I want it square, I would drag it all the way to the left. If I want it more oval, blah, blah, blah. You can change the opacity of the pink. So if I want it just solid, I can make the opacity 100. If I want it barely there, I can drag it really far out. Finally, we need to move this. So what I'm gonna do is right now, if you look at the image, the video, there's these dots everywhere. Those are dots you can drag around to manipulate the size and where it is. So right now I'm gonna make it a little smaller, and then I'm just gonna click anywhere in the middle and start dragging my mouse to where I want it. If I wanna rotate the text, there's this handle here that I can hold down my mouse on and rotate it. We can rotate it to match the angle of my hand. That might be cute. The next thing we need to do is I want to change the duration of this clip, because right now if we watch,
do that. I will show you how
it shows up too early.
Text over the screen,
and it stays too late.
Like.
So we're gonna trim, or you could splice, either or. So remember, to trim, I'm going to hold my mouse at the beginning of the clip and just drag to where I hold my hand up. I'm gonna bloop right there. That's fine like that. Okay, so now for the handwritten text. You will only be able to do this if you have a drawing tablet of some sort. I have an iPad. I also have a drawing tablet, but the iPad's right here, so I'm just gonna show you. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to a software. It's unfortunately not free, but there are many, many free drawing softwares. I'm gonna go to a software called, app. This is an iPad. I'm gonna go to an app called Procreate. Procreate it was like $10. So you can see I'm previously on my project for this video. What I did to do this is I created a new project that is the size of a YouTube video which if I recall is 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. So I just made a new project that was that size. Let me erase this. And I just made the background black just so I could see what I'm doing. The final product, there will be no background. It will be transparent, and I will show you how to do that. But just so I can see what I'm doing, I made the background layer black. The next layer, which is where my text will live, I just found a brush I like. We'll go with that. I made the color of it white, and I'm just going to write text 2. Like that. And then what I would do at this point is go to my background layer, turn it off so that it's just transparent at this point. Literally, it's just the text and nothing else. And I would export it as a PNG. That is very important. If you take anything away from this part of the video, your file for your handwritten text has to be PNG. PNG equals transparent background. JPEG equals no transparent background. Your final export has to be a PNG file with no background. So what I would do is I would go to Actions, I would click PNG, and I would export it as I wanted it. And then I will show you what I do. It finally gets onto my computer. So again, we're gonna import the media. I'm basically treating this as an image now that I'm just gonna drag onto my timeline. So don't think of it as text. Think of it as I just created a custom image with a transparent background. So I'm gonna drag that image, my PNG file, where I want it to start, which I guess I want it to start right when my hand pops up and right before I pop my other hand up. Right now it's way too big. So again, we're gonna do what we did before. We're gonna drag this around. I'm gonna move it like right around there. I think that looks fine. So let's watch that back.
I will show you how to put text over the screen, whether it's handwritten like this one.
So you get the gist. If you want a recommendation for a free app on your iPad to do that, there's one I like called Sketchbook. It's completely free and you can do exactly what I just did. I realized a second ago I forgot to show you how to do the drop shadow. So if you want to know how to do that, let me show you with the last text. So again, I'm gonna drag a text, adjust the clip to the timeline as I see fit. So I'm gonna change the text to text 3. Let's make it a little bigger. Let's move it right there. Okay, for the drop shadow, remember how I said sometimes it can be hard to see? So sometimes a drop shadow can help just a little bit to like pop it off the screen. Just hold your mouse over this X here, start dragging, and you can see a little shadow appear. You can move where the shadow goes, just drag these around and play with it. I usually just do it a little tiny bit offset. You can change how much it's blurred if you want it like really, really sharp like that. And you can change the opacity of the shadow. So if you want it like barely there or really strong, again, just drag all those around. And you can change the color of the shadow. So that's how you do a drop shadow. So let's see the final clip.
I will show you how to put text over the screen, whether it's handwritten like this one, or the native fonts that come in the software.
Yay! Next, I'm going to show you how to overlay a picture, which we kind of just have been going over a little bit. It's the same concept. So I'm going to import a new picture by doing what we've always done, going to the media pool, right-clicking, click import media, and I will find the picture I want to overlay, which is this one. I'm going to click open, and just like before, I need to move my cursor where I want the image to start. So cursor is at the start of the clip where I want the picture to start. So now I click on the picture that I just brought into the media pool, hold down my mouse, drag it right where the cursor starts, and there's my picture. But I need to resize it, and I also need to trim it. So let's trim it first. And I'm looking at the audio track, and I'm looking at where my audio stops, because that's likely where I'm going to stop the clip. So I'm just gonna drag it right about there. Next, I need to change the size of the picture. So I'm going to make sure I'm highlighted on the clip of the picture. If you're confused by chance, maybe you swear you're highlighted on the picture, it's turned red, it's on the timeline, everything looks right, and you can't see the picture, your cursor might be over there, like in the wrong spot. So make sure your cursor is on top of what you're trying to actively work on so you can see what you're doing. So I need to transform or resize my picture. Again, we're gonna go to this drop down over here. We're gonna make sure we're on transform, and here's those dots that we can play with. So I'm gonna click on a dot in the corner, start dragging my mouse to resize it, and I'm gonna click somewhere in the center to move it over here. I want it a little smaller.
I'll show you how to overlay pictures if you need to show a picture in your video.
There we go. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is do a zoom out, and I'll show you how to fill in the empty space with a solid color of your choosing. So let's watch the clip.
If you wanna zoom out of your video, I will show you how to fill in that space with a solid color.
And then I want to zoom out at a particular point, so let me listen back slowly. I'll do Shift K.
If you want to zoom
right there, right before I say out is where I want it to start. So I need to splice right there. So where I say if you want to zoom, that stays normal. For the rest of the clip, I want it zoomed out. So what I'm going to do is highlight on that clip. Again, we're going to use that handy dandy transform tool. I'm going to click on this drop down over here, click transform, and there's those dots again. So instead of dragging out like we did before, I'm just going to drag the dot in. And it defaults to black. Black means nothingness in this case. It's not a color I can change. It's just like the project color. So I need to add a video clip that is a solid color, and I need it to be behind my video clip. So what I need to do at this point is, since my video clip is video track 1, that means it's on the very bottom. Video track 1 is the lowest it can go. It can't go any lower than that. So I need to move it up so that my video clip is on top and then the solid color will be on bottom. So there is a fancy keyboard shortcut to move a clip up. I'm going to hold down Alt, click the up arrow, and you can see it just moved the clip up 1 track. If you don't want to do it that way, you can just simply hold down your mouse and drag it up. So now for adding the solid color, I'm going to go to the toolbox over here on the left, click generators, and there is something called solid color. That's exactly what we need. I'm going to click on solid color, hold my mouse down, drag it over. You can see it's a little too long. So I'm just going to drag it up here for now, just so it doesn't accidentally clip anything. Let me show you that again. So if I were to drag it where I want it, you can see it's going to drag into other stuff I don't want to get rid of. It's too long. So instead, I'll just put it up here temporarily. I will adjust the size of the solid color clip to match the video clip. So remember to trim, just hold down there, drag my mouse. Now they're the same size. Now I can hold my mouse down on the solid color clip and drag it down. Still looks black. That's because the solid color clip is black. If you go to the top right here, you can see there's a little setting for color. Click the black box and you can change your color here. And now I have a solid color for the background. So let's watch the final clip.
If you want to zoom out of your video, I will show you how to fill in that space with a solid color.
There we go. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is sound effects. Again, like I mentioned previously, if you want some sound effects in your video, you can Google royalty-free sound effects and find anything on there. Just make sure it's royalty-free. So I've done that previously, and I have found an audio clip of typing sounds, clicking sounds on a mouse, and popping sounds. I like to use the popping sounds for emphasis. Like if I want to bring something on the screen and make sure the viewer sees it and didn't miss it, I'll do the pop sound like that. And it hopefully the viewer will be like, what was that sound? And they'll see what was just added on the screen. That was a good pop. So I need to import those audio clips. Again, we're going to do like we've always done. Right click on the media pool. Click Import Media. You'll need to navigate to the folder where the sound effects are, select them, and open them up. Okay, so if you look on the media pool now, you can see there's 3 new audio clips. Audio clips just look like sound waves because there's nothing to see, right? Let's listen to the clip.
I'm going to show you how to put sound effects in your video, like clicking.
Okay, clicking is first, so I'm going to find the mouse clicking clip. If you need more space in the audio area, if you visually in your editing timeline, if you want to see more of that area, you can hover your mouse on the line between where the audio and the video tracks start, and you can bring it up like that. Click and hold down your mouse and drag up. So now I have all this space to play with. If you need to add space to add these audio clips, you want to add another audio track, right click on the audio track area, click add track, and just stick to mono. So now you can see I added another track. I don't actually need that in this case. I have the audio track 2 area, and I'm just going to add it there. So again, I'm going to go to my mouse clicking sound effect in the media pool, hold down my mouse, drag it to my cursor. So let's just listen to what that sounds like.
I'm going to show you how to put sound effects in your video, like clicking.
I think I want the clicking to start a little earlier, so I will just drag this to the left. Let's listen again.
I'm going to show you how to put sound effects in your video, like clicking.
I think that's fine like that. If you want it a little louder, make sure you're selected on the audio clip, go to the top right, and where it says volume, you can just drag that up a little bit. Let's listen now.
In your video, like clicking.
That's good. Next, what's the next one?
Popping.
Popping. So I'll do the same exact thing. I'm going to move my cursor right after I say popping, find my pop sound effect, drag it down, and let's listen.
video like clicking, popping, or typing.
Okay, sounds good. Maybe I'll make the pop a little louder too. Drag that up. Yep, okay. And then drag my cursor to the last one, which is typing.
Yeah. Typing.
Right there, and drag the keyboard sound. This one's too long, so I'm going to trim this and trim it to where the clip ends. And I know for a fact I want that louder. I've used this clip a lot. It's kind of quiet. So I'm going to drag that up. Let's listen to the whole thing.
I'm going to show you how to put sound effects in your video like clicking, popping, or typing.
Perfect. I do want to point a couple things out about audio settings that you might need. If you want to mute audio or get rid of audio, you might be tempted, like for this for instance, let's say I just wanted my face but no audio. You might be tempted to click on the audio and click delete, but if you see what just happened, it deleted the whole thing. What's happening there is the audio and the video file are linked together. The system is assuming you always want it to stay together, which is a safe assumption. Most of the time we do. But sometimes you want to separate them. To separate them, make sure you're highlighted on the clip. I keep getting those words mixed up. Right click, and at the very bottom, there's a setting called link clips. Right now it's checked on. They're linked together. So uncheck that. Let's double check. Okay, it's unchecked. Now I can individually click on that audio clip and click delete. Okie doke. The next thing is how to add an arrow. Again, we kind of talked about the concept of this, but you're going to need a PNG image file of an arrow because remember, PNG means you can have a transparent background. If I were to just drag a picture of an arrow on a white background onto this, that'd be pointless. I can show you the difference actually. So let's drag it in again like we always do to the media pool. So right click, import media, and then find that file. And I've actually brought in 2 different images of arrows to show you why it's important to make sure your file is a PNG with a transparent background. First, I will show you the one without the transparent background, and it's just a JPEG file. Let me drag that on the timeline. Look at that. That's ugly, right? So this is what happens if you don't make sure your file is a PNG with a transparent background. You're gonna get something like this. So I'm gonna drag the other arrow with the transparent background, and look how much better that is. And this is just like everything we've done before. We're treating it as an image, and you're gonna drag these dots around, drag it where you want. You can rotate it with this handle, anything you need to do. If you need to flip your arrow, go to the top right, and there's some flip actions you can do. Let's rotate it again, point like that. Look at this doofus head. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You treat it the same as an image file and just make sure it's layered appropriately on your timeline. All right, for the next part, I'm gonna show you how to add music, background music to your video. I like to source my music from YouTube Studio. So this is my YouTube account for my channel. I'm logged into it. I might have censored some stuff I don't want you to see. But what I want you to look at is on the bottom left of this menu here, there is the creator music. Did they change the name of that? I think this is the same music area. Let's click on that. This is totally different. So I was just reading over the FAQs for this new music area. So I'm learning with you live. So what I read was the prices over here on the right are reflecting the price you have to pay for a one-time license fee. Which means, like, this third song, for instance, which I'm not going to play now because that means I would have to pay $30 to play it in this video. But this third song here, if I did want to use it in this video you're presently watching, I would have to pay $30 for that one-time use in this video. I can't pay $30 and use it across all my videos forever. It's only for one license per video. So I will be focusing on the ones that say 0. I was reading in the FAQs as well that if I purchase a song for a $0 license fee and then later it goes up in price, I don't have to pay that price later. Whatever I pay for it at the time of usage, that's forever what it will be for me. So I'm going to focus on songs that are $0. I was going to tell you that this is a completely free music library of stuff you can use legally, but they changed it. It's not all free now. So just make sure you're focusing on the ones that say $0. So I will change this filter to $0, and then you can play through the songs and figure out which one you like, which one fits your vibe, and then you would download it to your computer. So click on these 3 dots here, click download track, and you'll be able to download it to your computer. All right, so this orange clip is the part where I want to add the music. So let's listen to the clip.
I'm going to show you how to put background music in your video. Like that pretty song.
Filming these things was kind of awkward because obviously I was not listening to music in real time. Okay, so we're going to do what we always do. We're going to go to the media pool and we're going to drag in that song that we just downloaded. I want the music to start right when I stop speaking and I start looking around the room. So let me drag my cursor to that point. Maybe even a little before that, and I can slowly like bring the audio in. Okay, so I'm going to go to the audio track, click and hold down my mouse, and drag it down to right where that audio, or where that cursor is. Let me just listen to see how loud the music is right now.
Like that pretty song.
Okay, it's not that loud, so that's fine. If it was too loud, again, I've showed you how to adjust volume, but make sure you're highlighted on that clip and drag this volume slider up at the top right. I'm going to go ahead and split the clip right where my yellow clip ends, because I won't need music after that. And I will delete all that extra junk. Okay, I just realized I actually want the music to end right before I start talking again when I say that pretty song. I'm going to trim the music a little bit to right where I stop talking, and I want the song to fade in and fade out. If you want more vertical space in your audio tracks, first, like I said before, we can drag this up. I clicked on the line between the audio and the video tracks, and then we can also hold down Shift and move our mouse wheel, and we can get more vertical space to work with. So I'm going to be highlighted on the music, and to fade in, there's a little dot that shows up on the top left corner. If I click and hold that and drag, that is representing a gradual increase of volume over time. And I can do the same with the end. So that, what we're looking at, is a visual representation of fade in and fade out. So let's listen again.
I'm going to show you how to put background music in your video. Like that pretty song.
Perfect. Okay, and that's exactly how you did it. Okay, we're on the very last thing. I'm going to show you how to speed up a clip, how to slow down a clip, and how to reverse a clip. So let's watch the clip.
And then I'll show you how to speed up your video, reverse your video, and slow down your video.
So I need to divide this clip into its 3 parts where I say speed up, reverse, and slow down. So I'm just gonna slice in between each one. To speed up a clip, you're gonna right click on the clip, and there's an option called retime controls. Click that. What we're looking at here is there's some settings that show you how fast the clip is. If I want to, I can click on this drop down here, click change speed, and I can just change it to like 200%. And you can see the time decreased because if you speed up a clip, it's shorter, right? So let's listen to that.
And then I'll show you how to speed up your video.
Perfect. I'm gonna undo that and show you another way though. Hover your mouse over the end or the beginning of a clip, and you can drag it and it will start changing the speed of the clip. I prefer to use this a lot because sometimes I want my clip to fit in a specified amount of time. So let's say like, let me add a marker. Okay, so I added this lime green marker on the timeline right here. And this is just, this happens a lot in editing. I can't think of an example right now that would apply, but there's a lot of times in editing where you're like, no, I need this clip to end exactly at this point, no sooner, no later. So instead of clicking that drop down and changing it to 200% where it doesn't line up with that mark where I want it to end, what I can do instead is adjust this to where it stops right at that mark, and it will still sound sped up.
And I'll show you how to speed up your video.
See, it still sounds sped up. I like to opt for that second method I just showed you where I just drag it to fit in a specified time. The next one is how to reverse a clip. Let me trim the empty space. I'm gonna go a little creative here. To reverse a video, I'm gonna duplicate the clip first, because what I want to do is I want to have it play in real time forward and then the same exact thing backwards. I'm just using my creative liberty here. So I'm gonna duplicate this clip. I'm gonna click copy, paste, and it'll paste it right after. So let's watch.
Reverse your video, reverse your video.
So it's the same thing. And now on the second one, I'm going to reverse the video. So I'm gonna make sure I'm highlighted on that, right click, go to change clip speed, and there's an option here, reverse speed. Check that. Click change, and let's watch it back.
Reverse your video. Wait, and
it's reversed. For the last one, we need to slow it down. As you can imagine, we're probably gonna do the same exact thing we did with the first one. So I'm going to right click, retime controls, and instead of dragging it to go quicker, I'm gonna drag it to go slower. Let's listen.
And slow down your video.
There we go. I did forget one last thing. Once you've done all your edits, you're gonna need to export your video, which means export it from what we're looking at here from Davinci into just one final video clip, all compiled together with all of your pictures, your sound effects, music, everything. To do that in Davinci, you go to this last icon down here. It says deliver. Click that. You'll see your timeline at the bottom with all your edits. And over on the top left here, you're gonna pick a name for your file, like your final file. For location, you'll click browse, and that's just where you're gonna physically pick a file location where you want the final product to live on your computer. And once you have the title and the location picked, down here, you're gonna click add to render queue. And then you'll see in the top right, a little task gets added to your queue. This is your queue of things you wanna export. We only need to export one thing, that's why there's only one item in the queue. So you will just make sure it's selected with the white rectangle around it. And right here, there's a button that says render all. You click that, it'll start rendering your video. And after some time, you'll see the final product in the location where you specified. So with that being said, you basically made your first YouTube video. You brought all your clips into Davinci, you made your splices, your trims, your edits, you added music, sound effects, pictures, text, anything you could ever need for your first video. You exported it, and then you use that final product to upload to YouTube. So let me meet you back in the outro.
This is probably going to be a long one if I had to guess. If you made it this far, please leave me a comment with maybe your favorite tip from this video or something you want to see next time. Which, speaking of, if this video does well, I'm going to continue maybe with the next part, some of those more advanced things I referred to in the video of maybe I could get to next time that just aren't quite suitable for beginner stuff. If you found anything useful, educational, or just entertaining in this video, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you can. It tells the YouTube algorithm I'm doing a good job, and I want to keep getting that data back to make sure I know what's working on my channel and what's not. But to wrap this all up, I hope this was useful in any sort of way to you. I wish you luck on your YouTube journey. I wish you luck on making your first YouTube video. If you have any questions about how to use Davinci after diving in a little bit, or if you want to suggest a new video on this topic for me in the future, please leave me a comment. I try to make sure to read all of them. And with that being said, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.